Namaste, friends. I am delighted to be here to throw more light on the topic called soft skills, beliefs, values, attitude, and behavior. If you observe, when we try to understand the concept of soft skills, we have to do a little bit of background work. What are our beliefs? What are our values? What is our attitude? And what is our behavior? If you observe the present day corporate needs, the buzzword of the 21st century education is soft skills. So, every company throughout the world wants to recruit people who are physically fit and psychologically sound. They want people who are emotionally balanced. People should be cool in their approach in handling men and matters. They should be adaptable to cross-cultural environment. They should be able to understand verbal communication and decode non-verbal communication, which includes body language and paralanguage. And they should be able to contribute in a team. And when companies require people of this magnitude, we have to understand that every student must gear himself up to grow in the 360 degree. Now, before we proceed on to the topic, let us look at a few aspects. You must have come across a small riddle. There is a story which is said about a person, a psychologist, who gave this line to a group of students. If you observe, he gave a line to a group of students. You wanted to test their nature, you wanted to test their character. And he asked them to make this line look smaller. Suppose this kind of work was given in the past, maybe for people of the previous generations. Suppose when we studied, we were actually doing something like this. We were actually trying to erase the whole thing to make it look smaller. That used to be the attitude of the people of the past. Now the present generation, whether you call it as the Y generation or Z generation, they are smarter. So they know that it is enough to draw a parallel line either below the line given or above the line given, something like this, to make the given line look smaller. This is exactly what we are speaking about. People's perceptions to life, people's perception to things has changed a lot over the years. And companies want to have people who can actually solve problems, companies' problems, people problems, product problems, by thinking out of the box. This is a small example. If we just look at one more example, there is another riddle that is being given. So it's a riddle of 9 dots. You are supposed to join these 9 dots. I repeat, you are supposed to join these 9 dots by starting at any one of the dots, and we should not lift the pen or pencil, and we must use only 4 straight lines. Shall we try? If I have to try now, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I missed 1. So this would actually require me to have 5 straight lines. This is the traditional thinking. So if the same riddle is given to the students of 21st century, what would they do? My dear friend, what would you do? Just look at this. Look at the various possibilities. Can I do something like this? Are you trying now? See if you can try. Yeah? So let us look at this possibility. Can I draw something like this? This is where I have thought non-conventionally and I have come out with a solution. Am I right now? This is one possibility. I have gone a little beyond the 3 dots and this is what I did. If you observe, I went a little beyond here, then I came here this way, from here I took it this way, and from here I joined the last dot. This is possibility number 1. When we look at when we look at the concept whether there are any other possibilities, let's see once. Let me draw these lines again. Do you find any other possibility? Yes, my dear friends. See if you can do something like this. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually not good at drawing, so I think you understand the difference. This symbol is exactly the opposite. This is possibility number 2. You can also draw the same thing this way. If you observe, this is one half and this is second half. You can also draw one more thing this side, like let me show you now. Something like this. No, I'm sorry. See, I have missed it. I am from a previous generation. So though I have been teaching this, I missed the bus. It's something like this. Sorry, something like this. Yeah. Now I got it. I went a little ahead here, came like this, and like this. I think I require a little more practice. The same thing I can draw again this way in the opposite direction. Okay. So there are 4 possibilities if you observe. If we just take this away, there are 4 possibilities. Would you like to see the 4th one also? Maybe you can try this out now. A possibility which will make you do it the opposite side. Okay. This is 4th one. This is 3. Maybe 4th one, let's try it here. Maybe you can try it with me. So if you look at this 4th variety of doing the whole thing, maybe we can do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. My dear friends, this is exactly what we have been speaking about. This generation is able to come out with solutions to many problems. In the past, we used to have this conventional mindset. But this present generation, it's very good in knowledge quotients, intelligence quotients, emotional quotients, and soft skills quotients. Maybe the people of past were also good in emotional quotients and soft skills quotients. But when we compare with regard to the knowledge quotients and intelligence quotients, people of this generation are extremely superior. So when I was teaching this in a class, when I asked a student to draw something like this and asked him to join them using 4 straight lines, I gave him a piece of chalk, and the boy was so clever and so much thinking out of the box. He had a different perception or a paradigm shift to understanding and learning. He just took this piece of chalk like this and did it like this. One stroke. One single line, one single straight line. And he's right in his own way. And he told the class, "Sir, I don't require 4 straight lines. I just require one." My dear friends, what I'm trying to tell you is, it all depends on how you look at a problem. It all depends on how you handle the situations. It all depends on your beliefs, your value systems, your attitudes, and your behavior. If you remember the quote of John Powell, it says, "Communication works for those who work at it." And today I'm telling you, even soft skills work for those who work at them. If you are determined to make something happen, you will surely be able to make it happen. Now let's look at a few more concepts, as I would say. Now, how do people generally think? I hope my writing is clear. How do people generally think? I'm not be giving you psychology, just a few concepts that we need to understand. You must have heard about a story of a cock or a hen crossing the road. I'll just tell you the story in a brief note. One day, a group of travelers were traveling in an AC bus from a big town to another town. They were moving on the national highway. And as different people were in the bus, they were doing different works. Most of them were tired. They fell asleep. And the driver was driving the bus very fast, as you would generally find it. But this driver suddenly applied brakes. And he applied the brakes at such rash movement that people who were sleeping in the bus woke up. So someone in the bus came to the driver and scolded him. But someone asked him, "Why did you stop the bus?" And the driver answered, "Just now, a hen crossed the road." So there were a few foreigners in the bus, there were a few Indians. So people did not understand why or how a driver can apply sudden brakes just for the sake of a hen. So because they woke up from sleep, they started discussing. Somebody started the whole discussion. Must be a philosopher like Socrates. He said, "Why did the cock cross the road, or why did the hen cross the road?" The first to respond was Charles Darwin. He was in the bus. He said, "In the process of evolution, there were many hens, and these hens were developing a lot of skills with each generation. And for the first time in the history of hens, there is this first generation of hens which learned to cross the road. The previous generation was not able to cross the road." Fair ended. That's what Charles Darwin thought. Then when Charles Darwin was speaking like this, Karl Marx got angry and said, "This is bullshit. All that you are saying is bullshit." Then Darwin asked him, "Why do you think the hen crossed the road?" As a matter of factly, Karl Marx said, "In this particular village, there is a clear difference between the haves and the have-nots. If you just observe outside, there are many hens on the right side of the road. And many of them are the rich hens. And this hen probably is the poor hen. And the rich hens were ill-treating the poor hens for a long time, and the poor hens rose in revolt against the rich ones, and he must have killed those rich ones, many of them, and he started enjoying his freedom or liberty. That's what Karl Marx said. Then entered our friend Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud's concept of will to pleasure, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. He said man lives for pleasure. So he says, on the right side of the road, there is no happiness, there is no pleasure, even the basic needs are not being met. On the left side of the road, the hen saw hope. The hen saw a lot of hope for the future. So it started moving towards pleasure. And someone else in the group shouted, no, all these things are theories, useless theories. The hen started crossing the road, or the hen crossed the road only because it saw the Kentucky Fried Chicken owner coming behind it. It was afraid to lose its life. So the fact that a hen crossed the road was conveyed to our famous TV channels, and many TV channels came onto the spot. They wanted to find out why the hen crossed the road so suddenly. So they somehow caught the hen rather, and asked him, Mr. Hen, why did you cross the road? And the hen answered, Kokoroko. And the reporter once again asked him the second question, will you cross the road once again? And the hen merely said, Kokoroko. And speaking to the journalist in the studio, the reporter said, Ms. Deepthi, did you observe? When I asked this hen why he crossed the road, he said Kokoroko with a louder voice. When I asked him again whether he would cross the road again, he said Kokoroko with a low voice. We'll have to see, I'll report the things to you, he said. Then Deepthi, who is in the studio, the reporter who is in the studio, made an announcement to the public. Do you think the cock will cross the road once again? If you say yes, send us an SMS. If you think no, send us N as an SMS. This is a story which will actually tell us how we actually think. Let me give you another example. So we have just seen an example of a hen or a cock. Let us look at the example of a field. If you have an open field somewhere in a village setup or in a semi-urban area, different people will have different reactions to the same field. A politician may think of occupying it. I have nothing against the politicians. I am speaking about a bad politician. A Swamiji may think of starting a yoga center. A real estate owner may think of starting a venture there. And an educational institute owner may think of starting a college or a school. A psychologist might think about starting a mental asylum there. And a person like Mother Teresa may think of starting a home for the orphans, either Nirmal Sishu Bhavan or Nirmal Hriday Bhavan. If you observe, it is the same field. If you observe, it is the same field, but the reactions are different. And this is exactly the context in which we have to understand why are the reactions different and different from the others. So we have tried to answer the question, how do people think, by using the hen story or the cock story, and by using the story of these fields. Now let us look at the concept of why do we think, or why do people think the way they think. If you observe, my dear friends, it all depends on our nature. If you are an introvert, you think and behave in one way. If you are an extrovert, you think and behave in a different way. And if you are an ambivert, you think in a different way. I'll just try to explain what these concepts are. Suppose I am an introvert and I need to choose my study or my specialization for my MBA. Which area do you think I would be very successful in? Can I go for marketing? Yeah, I think you would agree with me, this is a bad choice for me. Can I think of sales? Once again, a very bad choice. Can I think of human resource? Maybe yes. But can I think of finance, where a lot of confidentiality is involved? I would say a great S. So if I am an introvert and I need to choose my field of study, I need to choose my area of work in the future, I need to first of all understand what I will be good at. So to do that, I must first of all understand whether I am an introvert or an extrovert or an ambivert. An introvert is a person who is generally shy, he keeps to himself, he doesn't want to mix with others. This is what he does generally. Now, if we ask the same question to the second person, extrovert. Now, if you are an extrovert or if I am an extrovert, will I be good in marketing? Yes. I think you agree with me. Will I be good in sales? Surely. Will I be good in human resource? I can't exactly say yes, but I'll just give it to you. Will I succeed in finance? I have a big doubt. So my dear friend, we have looked at both the natures. Maybe we'll have to look at one more nature, the ideal nature in the present day context, ambivert. Ambivert is a term used in the soft skills circles to describe a person or to describe a nature of a person who has the good qualities of both introvert and extrovert. Please do not misunderstand that ambivert is a person who has a nature of introvert and extrovert. No. He is a person who mixes the positive and the proactive good qualities of both introvert and extrovert. I would say he is one person who would be silent when it is necessary to be silent, and he would be able to talk when it is necessary to talk. He doesn't feel shy unnecessarily. He doesn't indulge in rash behavior, or it doesn't be too much active unnecessarily. He knows when to be silent. He knows when to talk. He knows when to move ahead. He knows when to backtrack. And this kind of nature, if we possess, I think you are in. I'm not saying an introvert will fail. He has to choose. I'm not saying an extrovert will fail in the job market. No, he's got his own advantages. But if you are a person who possesses this nature of being an ambivert, I would say you can always tick all these concepts. I hope you understood this concept. Let us move to one more example. We also do the second experiment or example in the classes. This is about water bottle. This is not anything new. Remember, no soft skills trainer has invented anything new. He has only made use of conventional wisdom that is available and modern thinking, and he tries to help students understand what he needs to do so that he is ready for the corporate world. Okay, so if you look at this concept of water bottle, this is actually an experiment where students are given a water bottle in which the bottle is filled to the half to 50%, and they're asked to describe the water bottle. And you know what happens? Most of the time, there are people who say the bottle is half full. I don't think I need to tell you who these people are. They are optimists. They think the bottle is half full. They forget about the bottle being half empty. The second type of people, pessimists. So, what kind of a person would you like to be? If anybody asks you this question, you would always say it's optimist. Then there are the third kind of people who say this bottle is half full and half empty. We call them as the realist. They speak about the bottle being half full, and they speak about the bottle being half empty. Realists. Now, if I ask you, which of these three are right in their perception? Which of them is correct? Which of them has got a good orientation towards life? You would say maybe, some of you may say it's optimist. Some of you are very frank in your approach, may say it's a realist. Because optimists don't look at what is not there. Realists look at both what is not there and what is there. Pessimists, no. You will agree with me, you would not like to be a pessimist. But I'm afraid, my dear friends, most of the problems in the world are wrought by realists. I would say these are the most dangerous people. I'll tell you why. These are people who will call a spade a spade. These are people who would be very frank in their approach. They'll find it very difficult to succeed in the corporate world because they will have lots of enemies. They'll have enemies not because they're bad, not because they do not have the orientation towards the job, but because they're very frank. So I would say a small correction can be made in this mindset of realists, which would actually help them succeed in the world. The realists can always look at both the positive side and the negative side, but they should only speak the positive outside and be silent about the negative. It's always like behaving like the swan. You take what is good in the situation, forget about what is not so good. I will not call it as bad. Please don't take what is not so good. Or if you want to help somebody, okay, you praise the person in front of others, and maybe the mistakes that a person does, the negativity, you can just tell him in a friendly manner. If that person listens to you, there is nothing like that. If the person doesn't listen to you, let him go to hell. Okay? So, we find three varieties of people. If you observe, all these three are correct. The bottle is half full, he is correct. The bottle is half empty, he is correct. The bottle is half full and half empty, he is also correct. Then there is one more person. We call him as the idealist. He is a person who says this bottle is a 1 liter bottle and the water inside is only 500 ml. The bottle is supposed to be filled to the brim, to the end. So, ideally, the water should be 1 liter. This is another nature. So, these are people, these are a variety of people. Even he is right. He is a person who thinks, the village has to be like this, ideally. The leaders have to be like this. The CM has to be like this. The boss has to be like this. Or the prime minister has to behave like this. The society has to be like this. I remember the story of Abdul Kalam, who said, the same person who goes for a walk taking his dog is the same person who gets angry with the municipal authorities for not cleaning the roads. I am not saying that taking the dog out for a walk is wrong. When a person takes his dog out for a walk, it indulges in a lot of physical duties. He has got physical needs which he has to fulfill, and he fulfills it. And in the process of his walk, maybe in a stadium or on the road, when he comes across a situation of stamping on something dirty, he gets angry with the authorities. So, something has to be done by somebody else. There is a municipality which has to take care of that, not myself. There is a leader who has to take care of it, not myself. So, they always speak about ideally. They always speak about utopia. They have lots of utopian dreams. Once again, as I say, there is nothing wrong in having utopian dreams. But I think we need to walk on the road. We need to come down to the basics. Okay. Now, if we go a little further, there is one more beautiful person. I call him as a fatalist. He is a person who believes in his fate. You may call it as fate, you may call it as God's plan. He is a person who says, this bottle at this time of the hour is intended by God to remain half full. Suppose now the time is 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, God wants this bottle to be half full, that's all. It is fate. It is his choice. And when an optimist listens to something like this, he may say, oh, does God think so? Okay, 1 minute. So, this optimist may take this bottle which is half full and go to the tap, fill it to the full and bring it to the fatalist and look at him. Even then, the fatalist would say, even God has written even this one. At 9 o'clock, the bottle will be half full, and at 9:05, a person will come and fill it to the full. Once again, my dear friends, I am not saying that you should not believe in your fate, you should not believe in God's love or God's plan for you and all that. Far from me the thought. Now, there is a special, there can be many other people with many other natures, but I would like to introduce to you a person who has got this concept. I would call the great Abdul Kalam Garu as a person representing this great nature. He was not just an optimist, he was a proactive person. Who is a proactive person? If you look at the life of Abdul Kalam Garu, his journey from Rameshwaram to Rashtrapati Bhavan was not an easy one. He wanted to become a pilot and drive aeroplanes. But his destiny gave him a greater chance. He wanted to become something and he became something else. And all of you would agree with me that if he had become a pilot, he would have remained one more pilot. Just because he missed an interview, because he was lacking in communication skills in English, he missed an interview, if you remember or if you know. So the loss of one institute or one industry or one organization became the gain of the country. And you know how many missiles he has made, how many satellite launching vehicles he has made, and what kind of contribution he has made to the country, even as a scientist and as the president. So I call him as a proactive person because a proactive person is a person who doesn't look at the positive side, or he doesn't crib about the negative side. He doesn't remain a realist, he doesn't remain an idealist. He tries to make a situation become ideal, or he would like to make a situation to be converted into a realistic perspective, an ideal situation to become real. So if you observe this water bottle example, a proactive person would take this bottle which is filled to the half, drink water if he wants, and as soon as he gets a chance to go out, he would go out to the tap, fill the water bottle and place it back in the with the owner. If you observe, he has used the water and he has given the bottle to the full. So here is a person, a proactive person is a person, or here is a person who makes use of the resources but still provides for the future. My dear friends, these are just a few examples. You may find better examples than this. So if you observe, we think in some way over the ages because of what happens to us from our childhood, the kind of family we are born into, the kind of situations we are born into, the kind of environmental background, or I would put it like this, the kind of environment in which you grew up. All these things will play a great major role in making us think the way we think. So according to soft skills, our thought process is shaped by our belief systems, which are formed based on our culture, our faith, education, experiences, and the kind of mentors we get in our life. Once again, if I have to give you this example, Abdul Kalam was always, he had always a great regard for his teachers. He had great teachers and he always remembered them for showing him the way to the skies. And our belief systems shape our value systems. My dear friends, this is what we are speaking about. One thing is beliefs, and belief systems shape our value systems. And these value systems, these value systems tell us about what is important to us. And if we have good value system, we'll start giving importance or priority to family, to happiness, to career success, and maybe finally wealth. Wealth doesn't become the primary priority. It can be happiness, primary priority, or family, or it can also be career success. And if you observe, our value system determines our attitudes. It's all linked, interlinked. Our value system determines our attitudes. And it is our attitude that actually helps us treat others and approach situations. This is what I mentioned at the beginning of the class. The industry, the corporate industry, wants to have people who are cool in handling men and matters. And if you like to be that kind of a person who is cool in handling men and matters, you need to possess the right attitude. I would say the proactive attitude. If you observe, if you behave like a professional, it is because you give value to the right things of life and you have had greater exposure to positive belief system. It's as simple as that. If you get bogged down due to peer pressure, it's a clear indication that you have had many impact creating negative experiences in your life. I'm not saying that when you have negative experiences you cannot rise above them. There are many who have risen above them. For example, Malala Yousafzai. The kind of background she comes from, the kind of experiences she had in life, negative experiences about people, about their attitudes and all that. She would have gone a different route. But my dear friends, she has chosen a better one. Let me tell you also the story of A.R. Rahman. One more great example. If I remember in his Oscar winning speech, he said, many years ago, these are not the exact quotes, I'm just giving the feel of the speech. Many years ago, when my father died, I had to make a clear choice between life and death. So there is life and there is death. But life without father, if you observe, is not going to be easy. So death was calling me. I had to make a clear choice between life and death. And he made that final statement. I chose life and so I am here. A.R. Rahman created history. A.R. Rahman won the Oscars. A.R. Rahman's songs echo through the soil of this land and even abroad because he has chosen life. So, if you observe this attitude, which is formed out of value system, that is also formed out of beliefs, okay. This attitude determines our behavior. So, when a person actually observes that there is something wrong with you, he is actually pinpointing to your attitude, your value systems and your beliefs, and is actually pinpointing to our parents. There is a Zen story which is generally narrated in this context. The story is about an old man who was speaking to his grandson. One day he told his grandson, my son, there is a battle between two wolves inside us all. The first one is evil. It is anger, greed, jealousy, inferiority and ego. So, the first one is evil. The second one is good. So, he is referring to an evil wolf and a good wolf. And the good wolf is joy, peace, love, hope and empathy. The boy thought about it and asked, grandfather, which wolf wins? And I like the old man's reply. And I like the old man's reply. The one you feed. It is this attitude that determines our behavior, how we act. So, my dear friends, in order to understand soft skills, we need to have a 360-degree knowledge of self. And this 360-degree knowledge of self will help us in understanding the others around us and in understanding the world. If you feed positive thoughts, positive actions follow, and so you will have soft skills necessary for the corporate world. If you feed negative emotions, nothing to worry, because you can realize that you have negative emotions and you can work towards turning these negative emotions into positive and proactive emotions. Smile, and the world will smile with you. So, as I mentioned, this is my first video on soft skills. I'll be making more videos. If you like the video and the content of the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. See you soon.